Welcome back to the Quantum Soul. Ever get that feeling that, there's more to you than meets the eye? That there's this, hidden potential just waiting to be unlocked?
Oh, yeah.
That's what we're diving into today. We're talking about the power of the heart, but not just in the, metaphorical sense. We're talking about actual scientific research, stuff from the HeartMath Institute, even some ancient wisdom, all suggesting that the heart is way more powerful than we give it credit for.
Yeah, that feeling you're describing, sensing there's something more to you. That's something people have felt across cultures throughout history, really. Even philosophers, right? They always wondered if there was some deeper connection between, us and the cosmos.
It's like we've always kind of known deep down that we're part of something bigger. And now science is, finally catching up. That's where this HeartMath Institute comes in. They've been studying the heart, not just as this pump that keeps us alive, but as a source of intelligence that actually impacts our well-being.
Exactly. They found this thing, this heart coherence. It's like your heart and brain are playing the same beautiful melody,
Okay.
When they're in sync, you get this sense of calm clarity. Think of a perfectly tuned instrument.
Right.
And the crazy thing is, this state of coherence, it doesn't just affect how you feel, it has this ripple effect outwards too.
Okay, so how do we get our hearts and brains
Yeah.
to play that harmonious tune? Is this like a meditation thing? Do I need to be chanting in a cave somewhere?
No. It's way simpler than that. HeartMath, they've got these surprisingly accessible techniques. It all starts with something you're already doing, breathing.
Okay.
But instead of just letting your breath flow, unconsciously, you bring your attention to it, you slow it down consciously and imagine it flowing in and out of your heart area.
So it's about being mindful of our breath, bringing our awareness to the heart. But is breathing alone enough to create this heart coherence thing? Seems almost too easy.
Good point. There's another crucial piece to this puzzle. It's not just how we breathe, but what we're feeling while we're doing it.
Interesting.
Cultivating positive emotions, things like gratitude, appreciation, care, compassion, that plays a huge role in creating heart coherence. It's like we're sending a message of self-love to our bodies in a language they understand.
So feeling grateful can actually change our physiology. It's like we're literally programming our bodies with emotions.
Yeah.
That makes me think of all those ancient traditions that emphasized love and compassion. They seem to intuitively understand this connection between our feelings and our well-being,
Absolutely. It's so fascinating how ancient wisdom and modern science are converging on these ideas. And here's where it gets even more intriguing. The optimal frequency for this heart-brain harmony, this coherence, it's 0.1 hertz.
1 hertz. Wait a minute. Isn't that one of the dominant frequencies in the Earth's magnetic field? The one created by the sun's energy interacting with our planet?
Bingo. You're catching on quick. It's like the universe is sending us a pretty clear message, wouldn't you say?
For sure.
This same frequency, 0.1 hertz, it's crucial for both our internal harmony and the Earth's energetic balance, almost like we're designed to be in sync with the planet.
Okay, that's mind-blowing. So by practicing these techniques, the conscious breathing, cultivating positive emotions, we're not just calming ourselves down, we're actually aligning our heart rhythms with the Earth's energy field. We're literally tuning ourselves to the planet.
Precisely. And if you want to get a little geeky about it, both the Earth and the human heart, they have these torus-shaped magnetic fields.
Okay.
Imagine a donut.
Okay, yeah.
But instead of dough, it's energy flowing in this continuous loop.
Gotcha.
When we achieve heart coherence, it's like we're aligning these two fields, creating this powerful synergy between our personal energy and the Earth's energy.
So we're not just on the planet, we're part of it. Energetically interconnected. It's like those ancient myths that describe humans as microcosms of the macrocosm, reflecting the universe within ourselves.
It's a beautiful way to look at it. And this connection, it goes even deeper. Research has shown that the heart actually responds to information before the brain, even before the information is consciously perceived.
Really?
It's like the heart has this precognitive sense, an intuitive knowing.
Wait, the heart is responding before the brain. That's wild. It completely challenges our conventional view of the heart as just a muscle, following the brain's commands.
Absolutely. It suggests that the heart is processing information independently, and it might even be tapping into a field of information that science hasn't fully grasped yet.
Wow.
And this is where the concept of global coherence comes in.
Okay.
Imagine if this ability to perceive beyond the five senses. What if it wasn't just individual but collective? with our hearts responding to a larger energetic field that connects us all.
Okay, so we've got our individual heart coherence aligning with the Earth's energy. And now this idea of global coherence, where our hearts are interconnected and responding to some larger field of information. This is getting pretty deep.
It is, isn't it? But it's also incredibly exciting. Before we dive even further into these fascinating ideas, I want to take a moment to connect with all of you watching.
Of course.
If you're finding this exploration into the heart's intelligence as fascinating as we are, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share this video with anyone who might resonate with this message. Let's spread the word about the heart's incredible power.
Absolutely. We want to build a community of heart-centered explorers, so let's connect and share this journey together. Now back to our deep dive. You were saying that the heart might be responding to a larger field of information. What does that even mean? What kind of information are we talking about?
That's the million-dollar question. And it's one that scientists are still trying to figure out. But some researchers believe that the heart might be sensitive to subtle energy fields, electromagnetic fluctuations, maybe even information that travels beyond the speed of light.
Whoa, faster than the speed of light. Are we talking about quantum entanglement here? That's some serious next-level stuff. I'm starting to see why they call this channel the Quantum Soul.
It's all connected, isn't it? And this is where the boundaries between science and spirituality start to blur. What if those ancient mystics and seers were actually tapping into this larger field of information with their hearts, accessing a wisdom that goes beyond our current scientific understanding? It's certainly food for thought.
It makes you wonder what other mysteries the heart holds, what other potentials we might unlock if we learn to tap into its intelligence more fully. But before we get lost in speculation, let's bring it back to the practical for a moment. We've talked about heart coherence techniques, but I'm curious, what benefits do people actually experience when they practice these regularly?
That's a great question. And the research is pretty compelling. Studies have shown that regular practice of heart coherence techniques can lead to a wide range of benefits, from reduced stress and anxiety to improved sleep, increased focus, even enhanced creativity.
So it's not just about feeling calmer and more peaceful. It's about actually improving our cognitive function and overall well-being.
Exactly. And there's more. Some researchers believe that heart coherence might even play a role in boosting our immune systems, promoting physical healing even.
Wow. So it's not just about our mental and emotional states, but also our physical health. That's pretty amazing. But I'm also wondering, if heart coherence is so beneficial, why aren't we taught about this in school? Why isn't this knowledge more widely known and practiced?
You know, that's a great question. And it speaks to a larger shift that's happening in our understanding of the heart. For centuries, the heart was seen as the seat of the soul, the source of wisdom and intuition. But as science advanced and our focus shifted to the brain, the heart was kind of relegated to the role of a mere pump. Fortunately, the pendulum is swinging back, with research like HeartMath's proving that the heart is far more than just a blood pump. It's an intelligent organ. It communicates with the brain, influences our emotions, even responds to stimuli before the brain does.
It's like we're rediscovering an ancient wisdom that we somehow forgot along the way. And now science is providing the evidence to back it up. But I'm curious, you mentioned that the heart responds to stimuli before the brain. What kind of research are we talking about here? How do they actually measure that?
Well, one fascinating study involved showing participants a series of images, some emotionally charged, some neutral. They measured their physiological responses, and what they found was incredible.
This is where it gets really interesting. Don't leave us hanging. What did they find?
They found that the heart was actually responding to those emotional images, get this, before the brain even processed them. It's like before the image even appeared on the screen, the heart already had a sense of what was coming.
Well, hold on. So you're saying the heart knew what image was coming before it even showed up? That sounds like, I don't know, straight out of a sci-fi movie or something.
It is pretty mind-boggling, right? This research is basically suggesting that the heart might be tapping into some field of information, some kind of field that exists outside of our normal linear perception of time.
Okay, if I'm understanding this correctly, we have all these individual hearts, each one potentially able to perceive things, beyond our five senses. And they might be syncing up with the Earth's energy field through that 0.1 Hertz frequency we talked about. But then you mentioned global coherence. Are you saying that all these individual hearts, could they be connecting to a larger field of information, something that links us all?
That's exactly what global coherence explores, yeah. Think of it like this giant web of energy connecting every living being on the planet. Our individual heart rhythms are like tiny threads in this web. And when enough of us achieve coherence, it strengthens the entire web. It creates a more harmonious resonance, you could say.
So it's not just about my heart being in sync with the earth. It's about all of our hearts syncing up with each other, creating a sort of like a collective heartbeat for the planet. Does that mean like our emotions could actually be impacting the Earth's energy field?
That's exactly what the research suggests, yeah. HeartMath, they've been monitoring the Earth's magnetic field for years now, and they've found these really interesting correlations between, like, global events and shifts in the field.
Oh, wow.
For example, during times of, heightened global stress or trauma, like during a natural disaster or maybe even acts of terrorism, the Earth's magnetic field actually becomes more erratic, more incoherent. But then during moments of collective joy or maybe compassion, like during global celebrations or peace rallies, the field becomes more stable, more harmonious.
Wow, so our collective emotional state is like literally reflected in the Earth's energy field. That makes me think of, all those ancient traditions that emphasize living in harmony with nature, recognizing that we're all part of this larger interconnected web of life. Seems like they were onto something.
Absolutely. Those ancient cultures, they understood intuitively what science is now beginning to prove. We are not separate from nature. We are a part of it. And our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, they all have a direct impact on the world around us.
That's a pretty empowering thought. It means that we each have responsibility, I guess, to cultivate positive emotions within ourselves, not just for our own well-being, but for the well-being of the planet as a whole,
Exactly. It's a call to action, you could say, to become conscious co-creators of a more harmonious world. And it's not just about feeling good, it's about aligning with our highest potential, tapping into the wisdom and compassion that reside within our hearts.
Speaking of wisdom and compassion, earlier you mentioned that the heart might be involved in processing information before the brain. Does that mean our hearts could be like a source of intuition, like those gut feelings we get that tell us what's right or wrong, even when we can't explain it logically?
That's a fascinating question, and it's one that HeartMath has been looking into as well. Their research suggests that the heart could actually be a key player in our intuitive abilities. They found that the heart sends signals to the brain, signals that influence our emotional responses and our decision-making processes. So those gut feelings you're describing, those might actually be your heart communicating with your brain, providing a kind of subtle form of guidance.
So it's like our hearts are picking up on these subtle cues from our environment, from our relationships, even from our own inner knowing, all long before our brains can even process them logically. It makes you wonder if we've been trained to ignore our intuition, trained to rely too heavily on logic and reason, when our hearts might actually be holding a deeper wisdom.
That's a great point. We live in a culture that really values logic and rationality above all else. But what if we're missing out on a whole other level of knowing, a more intuitive, more heart-centered way of perceiving the world?
It makes me think of, all those creative geniuses throughout history, the artists, the musicians, the inventors. They seem to tap into a source of inspiration that went beyond logic and reason. What if they were just simply listening to their hearts, allowing that intuitive wisdom to guide their creations?
It's certainly a possibility, and it highlights the importance of cultivating a balance between our heads and our hearts, integrating both logic and intuition into our decision-making processes.
So how do we do that? How do we learn to trust our intuition more, to listen to those subtle whispers of the heart?
It takes practice, definitely. But here's a simple exercise you can try. Next time you're faced with a decision, big or small, take a few moments to just connect with your heart. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and just ask yourself, what feels right in my heart? Notice the sensations, the emotions, those subtle whispers of intuition that come up. Don't overthink it. Just feel into it.
That's a great tip. It's like we're tuning into our heart's wisdom frequency, quieting the mental chatter and letting that deeper knowing emerge. What about those times when our intuition seems to conflict with logic or reason? How do we know which voice to trust?
That's where discernment comes in. It's about recognizing that our intuition isn't always about following our desires or seeking comfort. It's about aligning with our soul's purpose, with our highest good, even when it challenges us to step outside our comfort zones.
So it's not just about what feels good, it's about what feels true, what resonates with our deepest values and aspirations.
Yeah.
It's about trusting that our hearts are guiding us towards a path of growth and expansion, even when it feels uncertain or challenging.
Exactly. And that's why cultivating a strong connection with our hearts is so important. The more we listen to our hearts, the more we develop our intuitive abilities, and the more we can trust that inner guidance to lead us in the right direction.
This is all incredibly fascinating. We covered so much ground today, from individual heart coherence to global coherence, the heart's precognitive abilities, its role in intuition. But before we get too carried away, I want to remind our viewers that this is just the tip of the iceberg, really. There's so much more to discover about the heart's incredible power and its potential to transform our lives and our world.
Absolutely.
Do us a quick favor and hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel and share this video with anyone you think might find it interesting. The more people we can reach with this message of the heart, the more we can contribute to creating a more heart-centered world.
Beautifully said.
Okay, now it's time to choose your next adventure. Click on one of the videos on the screen, and we'll see you there.
It's like we've been given this amazing gift, this incredible tool right here in our bodies, but we've kind of forgotten how to use it. We've gotten so caught up in the external world and logic and reason that we've lost touch with our own inner compass,
Yeah, it's almost as if we've outsourced our wisdom to technology, to experts, to everyone but ourselves. But you're saying that the real source of wisdom, it lies within our own hearts.
That's the beautiful thing about it. We don't need to look outside of ourselves for the answers, for guidance, for validation. It's all right here, within each of us, waiting to be discovered. And the key to unlocking that wisdom, it's through the heart.
But if our hearts are so wise, why do we make choices that lead to, pain, suffering, disharmony? Why don't we always follow our heart's guidance? I mean, we've all been there, right?
Yeah.
Making decisions we know deep down aren't right for us, but we do them anyway.
That's the paradox of being human, isn't it? We have this incredible capacity for love, compassion, wisdom, but we also have free will, the ability to choose our own path, even if it leads us astray. And sometimes those wrong turns, those are necessary for growth, for learning. Think of it like learning to ride a bike. You're going to fall a few times before you find your balance. It's the same with listening to our hearts. We might stumble, we might make mistakes, but each experience, it teaches us something valuable about ourselves and about the world around us.
So it's not about being perfect or always making the right choices. It's about learning from our experiences, course correcting, and continually coming back to our heart center. It's like having this internal GPS system. It's always guiding us back to our true path, even when we take a detour.
Exactly. And that's where self-compassion becomes so crucial. We're all on this journey of evolution, right? And there are going to be bumps along the way. The key is to not beat ourselves up when we stumble, but to offer ourselves kindness, understanding, and support, especially as we navigate the inevitable challenges of life.
That makes me think of all those ancient philosophies, the ones that emphasize self-love and acceptance. They seem to understand that our capacity to love others, it's directly linked to our capacity to love ourselves.
It's all connected, isn't it? When we cultivate self-compassion, we create a more loving and harmonious environment, And that inner harmony, it radiates outwards. It influences our relationships, our communities, and ultimately the world around us.
So if we want to create a more loving and compassionate world, it starts with each of us cultivating those qualities within ourselves.
Precisely. It's a ripple effect. When we choose love over fear, compassion over judgment, forgiveness over resentment, we create this more positive and harmonious energetic vibration. And that vibration, it spreads outwards, influencing those around us. And ultimately, it contributes to a more peaceful and connected world.
But with so much conflict and division of the world today, it can feel kind of overwhelming to think that our individual choices can actually make a difference. I mean, how can one person's heart coherence possibly shift the tide of global events,
That's where faith comes in. Not faith in a religious sense, but faith in the power of love, faith in the interconnectedness of all things, and faith in the potential for humanity to evolve towards a more heart-centered way of being. It's about trusting that even small acts of kindness, compassion, and forgiveness, they can have a ripple effect that extends, that goes far beyond our immediate sphere of influence.
So it's not about grand gestures or heroic acts. It's about the small, everyday choices we make, the moments of kindness we offer, the ways in which we show up in the world that ultimately create the tapestry of our collective reality.
Beautifully said. It's about recognizing that we're all co-creators of this world, and that our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, those are the brushstrokes that paint the canvas of our collective experience.
This has been an incredible journey, really, into the world of heart intelligence. We've explored some mind-blowing concepts, from heart coherence to global coherence, the heart's precognitive abilities, its role in intuition. But as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our viewers with one final thought. What if the heart is not just an organ in our body, but a portal to something much greater than ourselves, a gateway to a field of infinite love, wisdom, and connection that we're only just beginning to understand?
That's a beautiful and profound question, and it's one that each of us has to explore for ourselves, really. But as we continue to unlock the mysteries of the heart, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. We are not just physical beings. We are energetic beings, connected to each other and to the universe in ways that we're only beginning to even comprehend. And within each of our hearts, it lies the potential to create a world that reflects that interconnectedness, a world where love, compassion, and harmony prevail.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the quantum soul. Remember, the journey continues within each of you. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep listening to your heart.
And for those of you who are eager to dive deeper, we have 2 amazing videos on the screen right now, each one exploring a different facet of this fascinating topic. Choose whichever one calls to you and continue your journey of discovery.
And before you click on one of those videos,
and remember, the journey continues within each of you. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep listening to your heart. You never know what you might discover.